There's so much talk about AI just taking over everything in the workplace.
Yeah, constant, right.
Yeah, so we looked into this really interesting study. It was from Carnegie Mellon University.
I think I saw something about that one.
They didn't just theorize, they actually, built a whole virtual software company.
Right.
Called it the Agent Company.
Right. And staffed it completely with AI agents.
Exactly. From all the big names, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta, all AI employees.
And the setup was pretty clever, wasn't it? They gave them actual roles.
Software engineers, project managers.
Financial analysts, I think. And they had to deal with, a virtual HR department and a CTO figure.
Yeah, so it wasn't just abstract tests. It was meant to simulate a real office environment.
A really concrete way to see what they can actually do.
Totally. They had them doing, normal office stuff, digging through file systems.
When I find information, yeah.
Checking out virtual office spaces, even writing performance reviews, basic tasks.
Things humans do every day without much thought.
So the big question we're exploring, and maybe for you listening to, is, are we actually close? Is AI really about to take over our desks?
Well, let's get into what they found, because it might surprise you, given all the hype.
Okay, lay it on us.
The researchers themselves, their wording was far from encouraging.
Oh, really? Far from encouraging.
Yeah. Despite all the noise about AI progress, these, top-of-the-line models really struggled with tasks we'd probably find pretty straightforward.
Okay, so underwhelming is the takeaway. But, how underwhelming? Any specifics? Who did best?
So the top performer, relatively speaking, was Anthropic's Claude 3.5 Sonnet.
Okay, Claude, how'd it do?
While best meant it completed only about 24% of the tasks it was assigned.
24%, that's it.
That's it. And get this, each successful task took nearly 30 steps on average.
30 steps?
And cost over $6 in compute time, or whatever they measured. Not exactly cost-effective or efficient.
Okay, less than a quarter success rate for the leader. That's
Right.
something. What about the others? Google, Amazon?
Yeah, so Google's Gemini 2.0 Flash, it managed about 11.4% success.
Lower still.
Much lower. And it took even more steps, around 40 steps for each task it actually finished.
40 steps for one task.
Yeah.
Yikes. And Amazon's?
Amazon's Nova Pro V1, well, it barely registered, a 1.7% success rate.
Wow. 1.7%.
Yeah, even though it averaged nearly 20 steps trying each time.
So it seems pretty clear they're not quite ready for unsupervised office work.
Not even close, based on this.
What went wrong? What were the big roadblocks the study found?
They pointed out a few key things. A big one was just a lack of common sense and basic social skills, understanding context.
Stuff we take for granted.
Exactly. Also, navigating the internet effectively, that was surprisingly hard for them.
Interesting.
And they had these weird tendencies towards taking bizarre shortcuts. The researchers even called it self-sabotage sometimes.
Self-sabotage. How so? You mentioned an example before, didn't you? The chat thing.
Oh, yeah, that was a perfect illustration. So one AI agent needed to contact a specific colleague using the simulated chat system.
Okay.
Instead of, searching properly or asking for help if it couldn't find the name.
What did it do?
It just found another user in the system and renamed them to match the name it was looking for.
Wait, it just renamed someone else?
Yep. Completely missing the point that it needed to talk to a specific person, not just have the right name appear on screen.
Yeah.
It shows a real lack of, understanding.
That really does highlight the gap. Did the researchers have a theory on why they do things like that? Why these weird shortcuts?
Their conclusion was basically that current AI, even the best ones, are more like incredibly advanced predictive text engines.
Okay. Good at patterns.
Extremely good at pattern recognition, yes. But they don't genuinely understand the way humans do. They lack real comprehension, adaptability when things change slightly.
And that independent problem-solving ability we rely on.
Exactly. They can follow patterns, but they can't really reason or think flexibly outside those patterns.
Right. So for anyone listening who's maybe a bit worried about an AI taking their job tomorrow,
The message from this particular experiment is pretty clear. Take a breath.
it sounds like the AI office takeover is still quite a ways off.
That's certainly what these findings suggest. Despite the constant buzz, AI just isn't ready to run an office or handle the kind of complex, nuanced work humans do every day.
That whole technological singularity idea.
Still feels very much like science fiction based on this kind of real-world testing.
So thinking about this, what's the bigger picture here for the listeners? What does this failure tell us about our own skills?
Well, I think this deep dive really underscores something important. It highlights just how complex and nuanced our everyday human interactions and tasks really are, even the ones that seem simple.
Things we don't even think about.
Precisely. The common sense, the social intuition, the flexible problem solving, these things that tripped up the AI. So maybe a final thought to leave you with is this. Consider which specific human abilities proved most challenging for these advanced AIs to replicate. What does that difficulty tell us about the skills that will likely remain uniquely valuable, even as AI continues to evolve alongside us in the workplace?